Now we're in the upland forest where it's nice and dry, and we found an ant colony, and it's under this rock. I have my wild science ant catcher jar and my spoon. Now, the ants under this rock are rather small, but they're fine for a wild science kit, but they'll allow me to show you one method that we use to catch ants. Underneath this flat rock is an ant's nest. Now I'm going to show you one of the methods that we use to collect ants for the wild science kits. This is an ant catcher, this is a spoon. Maybe you can see there are ants running around carrying what look like eggs. Well, those are ant larvae. I disturbed this rock just a few minutes ago. Now I'm going to see how many we can catch. I take the lid off the ant catcher. This is going to happen with blinding speed. Are we ready? Go. I put in some soil. And I put in ants, a few more ants, maybe 15 or 20 worker ants. I'm going to put the lid on. And there we are. I put the rock down. The little bit of damage that I've caused, those workers will fix inside 2 days and they'll carry on as normal. I'm not looking for the queen. I'll tell you why later when we get back to the lab. Now I'm going to show you a second way of catching ants. Now the ants are in the nest over here, and you can see there are cleared areas around the ants' nest. This is what we call ant trails. I'm going to use this jar to make a trap. I'm going to dig a hole. It's very loose, sandy soil here, which is what ants like, of course. And I'm going to bury the jar open in the soil. Doesn't have to be completely underneath. Build up the soil around the sides like this. Now this is not a pit trap where the animals slip in and can't get out just because they slipped in, because the sides are slippery. Ants can walk in and out of this no trouble at all. What is going to put them in this trap is bait. We start with a cotton ball from the Wild Science kit. In here I have sugar and water mixed. A lovely syrup. All ants seem to love sugar water. I'm going to take a pipette from the Wild Science kit. Take 1.5 mils of sugar water, which is just the right volume. Put it on the cotton ball. The cotton ball is now full of a syrup. Now the ants will soon set out searching all around here to find out what's happened. They'll discover the sugar water. The first worker that discovers the sugar water will run back and tell the rest of the nest that there is a free feed down the trail. And in a few hours' time, or maybe by tomorrow, maybe hundreds of ants will be in this jar. All we have to do then is put the lid on and let them join their friends in the ant mine. Welcome to our Wild Science Laboratory. Now I brought the ants up from the forest, and our ant mine is waiting here, ready to take its new residence. But first I'd like to show you how we made this ant mine. Now this is a little bowl of cooking oil. It can be olive oil, any sort of oil you want. You can even use margarine or butter. I'm dipping in my little piece of paper, and I'm going to grease the bottom of the pegs where the plaster will be. Just the bottom of the pegs, not the top. Now, the tops I can grip and twist and pull out, but the bottoms are greasy so the plaster does not stick to the tubes. Now I'll do the rest. Now I'm going to mix up the plaster of Paris. I've got 370 mils of water, and I'm slowly adding the plaster and mixing at the same time. This is why we have the mask. You can see the dust coming up. This is why we wear a mask while we're doing this. It's getting quite creamy already. Now I'm pouring in the plaster slowly so we don't get too many bubbles. Tap, tap, tap. That brings any bubbles to the surface. You can see it shaking. That makes a stronger plaster. And now we wait for at least 45 minutes, but I'm going to leave mine for a few hours. It's nice and hard now. I've left this for a few hours, but you must leave it for at least 45 minutes, and you can even leave it overnight if you like. I'm sitting it on a soft towel, and now I'm going to remove the tubes. Now the tubes have been oiled. I just twist them. I don't move them from side to side. I twist them to remove them. And the oil makes it nice and easy to remove. There. Next comes the tricky part. We have to loosen the mould. You can hear it squeaking. It's moving away from the plaster. That part's done. Now, this is where it gets a little bit scary. Pick it up. I start to move the corners away. You can feel it moving. Feel it moving in the corners. It's still very damp. There. I'm going to let that dry for a while, then we're going to paint it. Now, you can see that we've painted the plaster here. We've painted it as if it's in layers going through the earth. Now you can really see the chambers very clearly. Can you see these big chambers up the top? They represent the very top level of a very big leafcutter ant's nest. All of these little chambers down here are used for different purposes. Interestingly, the ones down the bottom here, the ants will use as their rubbish dumps. They'll even put dead bodies of ants in the driest positions down the bottom here. Very often they have pupae here. At the next level up, they have larvae. And up the top here is where they go and find their food and water. Now, the first thing I need to do is to make a water chamber for them. I get a pipette, it's all in the booklet, and chop it with my scissors, and I put in most of a cotton ball, like that. Ants don't like free water. They can drown in free water, so we put the water inside the cotton wool. That fits into there. And next, we put the window on. Here's the window. The window goes on the front like so, and we have to attach it with the special double-ended rivets. Can you see the little black rivet there? I push it through. Another one from the back. They click together like so. I'm doing all of this on a towel because it's nice and soft, so it keeps the plaster from getting damaged. And now all I have to do is to go around the rest, adding rivets as I go and pushing them in from the back. And there it is. Now the ant mine is almost ready to take the ants, but we still have a little bit of preparation to do. Firstly, I need to put about 2 mils of water into the water container for the ants. Now we also need to put some food in the ant mine for the ants. So I'm going to take a tiny little piece of each, like so, just a small piece, and we're going to put it in the food chamber. There we go. You use your tweezers, we pick them up, and we put them in the food chamber. In goes the meat, in goes the apple, we'll just move it over to the side, in goes the cracker. It's just a little, and we can observe the ants and see which ones they like. There's a special stopper goes in here, there. And we have another special stopper to cover the water chamber, because we don't want the ants running up and running out of these special ports. And now we're ready to go and get the ants.